seemed to be concerned about their students' lack of progress. All the teachers were using the same methods and getting the same poor results. In most parts of the world, students study English in school for years, yet the vast majority of them never learn to speak English well. After years of study, they still have trouble with real English conversations. They still feel nervous and shy about speaking. A few years after my experience with Gladys, I got a job as an English teaching assistant in Japan. I was excited and eager to help these young students learn my language. I still remember my first day. I was sitting at the front of the class next to the main teacher, who was Japanese. As the students came into the room, they saw me and giggled nervously. They sat down and continued to shyly glance at me. They were they were sweet and serious. Then the class started. The main teacher wrote an English sentence on the board. I don't remember the exact sentence, but it was something like the little girl goes to school. The teacher pointed to the sentence and began to talk in Japanese. The students all grabbed their notebooks and began writing. Everyone was very serious. Next, the teacher circled the word goes. Goes. She pointed at the word and continued speaking in Japanese. She talked and talked in Japanese. The students wrote quickly, filling their notebooks with information. Finally, the teacher drew a line from the word goes to the word girl. And then she talked more on and on and on in Japanese. This continued for the entire class. The teacher, she used different colored chalk and continued speaking Japanese. I was totally confused. I'm a native speaker of English, and I was sitting in a beginning English class. Yet I could not understand anything in the class except for that one sentence. I was thinking to myself, what could this teacher possibly be talking about so much? It's just one sentence, yet the teacher spent an entire hour analyzing, explaining, and dissecting the one simple sentence. Finally, at the end of the class, the teacher asked me to read the sentence aloud for pronunciation. I read the sentence a couple of times, and that was the only real English input the students got the day. Sadly, the same pattern repeated every day by day. I watched the students' enthusiasm and curiosity disappear. They become bored, stressed, and confused. Every day, they wrote pages of notes, mostly in Japanese. Every day, the teacher talked, mostly in Japanese. I couldn't understand why an English class was being taught mostly in Japanese. During the average class, the students were listening to Japanese 19% of the time or more. They heard very little English. No wonder they never learned to speak. No wonder they were frustrated and confused. Honestly, it broke my heart to watch the school rush the students naturally love of learning. It was terrible to watch them grow bored, frustrated, and stressed. And 6 months later, none of the students could speak to me at all. Not even the simplest conversation. This kind of situation is repeated in English classes all over the world. My experience with Gladys and Japanese uh, convinced me that the traditional English language education is broken. I knew there had to be a better way to help my students speak English than what we were doing. So I was began to search for a better way. I wrote books about English teaching. I constantly tried out new methods in my classes. I read searches students studies. I traveled and taught English in other parts of the world.